Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Renata de Carvalho Albrecht, and I am the president of South American and Caribbean Latvian Association. Today, I will be also moderating this conversation. So, this is the first conversation between the South American Latvian community and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, held on digital platform and accessible for everyone who is interested. So I would like to thank Maya Bilsana and Arthur Sviridos for taking the time, even on Sunday, to be with us and share the insights. I also like to thank Latvia's ambassador to Brazil, Alda Vainaga, as it was her initial idea to organize such a conversation. And we are glad to finally see it take place. For many of us in South America, this is the first direct opportunity to learn more about how Latvia's institutions operate and how they connect with our diaspora communities abroad. Many in our community are not only Latvians by heritage, but also Latvia's citizens. So this type of exchange is both relevant and important. This conversation is being recorded and will later be available on the Latvian Brazilian Cultures Association YouTube channel, Letonium Brazil. So please feel free to share it with your family and friends. Before we start, I would like to introduce my husband, Felipe, who will be helping today by moderating the live chat during discussion. Hello, Felipe.
Hi everyone, I'm Felipe de Carvalho Albrecht from the Latvian community in Brazil. You're welcome to drop your questions in the chat. I'll read them at the end of our discussion. If there is anything else you would like us to talk more about, just comment and we will try to plan another follow-up conversation about the subject. And I just want to tell Renata that I'm checking on the YouTube channel and it seems that the chat is not is disabled. I tried to enable here and it's not possible. So maybe it's on your side, Renata, that you need to enable the chat on the YouTube
Okay,
channel.
I will check this later. Thank you, Felipe, for telling me that. Without further ado, let's begin our conversation. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Maya Bilsana. She will talk about few interesting and important topics, including diaspora law, parliamentary elections, national defense service. Hello, Maya. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Warm greetings to everyone in South America. And thank you very much for keeping your interest about Latvia alive. I'm so glad that we could organize this event, and I'm very honored and glad that I could tell a little bit more about our policies and on diaspora in Latvia in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So as Renate told already, I'm working with the ministry in diaspora group, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs is a supervising institution in implementation in this diaspora policy. And so probably we should share already the slides. Renate, could you do that for me?
Yes, so the floor is yours.
Okay, so we could I could tell a little bit more about the diaspora law. It has been adopted in 2019, and there are several objectives of diaspora law. And one of them is to strengthen the Latvian identity and ties with Latvia as an integral part of the Latvian society. So what it basically means that diaspora is a very important part of the Latvian society. There are about 400,000 people living abroad. And that's why we want to keep those ties also with Latvians living abroad. And that's why we have diaspora law and special policy. And one of the more objectives are to ensure possibilities for diaspora to freely establish and maintain the link with Latvia. So basically, it means that also our Latvians living abroad or Latvian citizens can speak Latvian language and know the Latvian culture. And so that's why also they have some links with Latvia that is very important for us. The next objective also is to promote the preservation of Latvian language and culture abroad for the diaspora. And the next one also is to support the policy where diaspora is involved in our national economy and in science cooperation and in other traditions, traditional culture, as well as remigration to Latvia. And the last one, but not the least one, it's also very important that diaspora from abroad is involved in our political participation. So it means that we would also like that our Latvian citizens living abroad are voting for the Latvian parliament, for example, that they are active also in public policy, and that's important for us. So Renate, could you have the next slide, please? And here I'm also showing you some financement, the state budget for the diaspora. It's almost 3 million euros this year. It's 2025, so it means for this year. And the main line ministries who are working with diaspora are, of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Economics, Ministry of Education and Science, Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of Smart Administration and Regional Development. And of course, also Central Election Commission. And there is also Society Integration Foundation that also have very important projects for the diaspora. So maybe I will tell a little bit more about input of the ministries. This is what Renate also asked me to do. And I would like to say that the Ministry of Education is supporting mainly the Latvian language, to learn the Latvian language in diaspora. For example, they have some financement for the Latvian schools abroad. These are the schools that are meeting on the weekends, usually on Saturday, on Sundays, for the Latvian community living in different countries of the world, in Europe, in the United States of America, in Canada, in Australia, and in other parts of the world. Ministry of Education is supporting also the teachers who are teaching Latvian language for the diaspora. And they are supporting also several digital platforms for teaching of Latvian language. So you could look for such a website like Māci un Mācies.lv or Cietins.lv, where you can find information about how to teach Latvian language and also information how to learn Latvian language. And the next one, probably I will tell a little bit more about the Ministry of Culture. That is also very important for South America. I think that the Ministry of Culture supports song and dance festival tradition in diaspora. So, for example, next year there will be a big song and dance festival in the United States of America in Grand Rapids. So the money, the funds are received partly from the Ministry of Culture to organize this event. And there are also several summer camps that has been supported by the Ministry of Culture. They are not just in Latvia, but also in some other places abroad. And summer camps usually last for 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the program. And they usually meet young families together with elderly people, and there are very like live connections between Latvians and Latvians living abroad. So they are learning also the language during those summer camps and also Latvian traditions. So maybe Renata, could you switch on the next slide, please? Yeah, this is about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We also have support for the diaspora. And so we are supporting projects which could contribute to the development of the diaspora and maintaining ties with the state of Latvia. And mainly in those projects that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs supports, these are related with the National Day celebrations. And the next slide, Renata. And I will tell probably a little bit more who can apply. So you are also very welcome to apply, but you have to be registered as a diaspora organization. So you should have also a bank account and have to be like a legal entity in Brazil, Argentina, or Chile, or everywhere else where you're living. So you have to have like an organized diaspora organization to apply for those projects in Latvia. And the next slide, Renate, and how to apply. It's also quite simple, but the information is in Latvian. So there should be filled in the project application form. And what is very important that also the application form is signed, and usually with Brazil and other countries that are quite far away, we are usually taking in concern the electronic signature. And I assume that you have your ID cards just received, and there are also PIN and PUC codes in your envelopes. So please do not lose them. So one day probably you have to use them. So electronic signature in Latvia, we are usually using that daily in government, in public administration. So it's very, very popular and very secure signature. So that's why it's very important. And information about the projects for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs you can find in that website on the slide. So could you put on the next slide, Renate? In the projects, I have noted here what is supported and what is not supported. So basically, we support short-term rental of the premises, transportation costs, Also technical equipment, the rent of technical equipment, and masterclass experts and guest speakers. But we cannot pay for honoraria for those guest speakers, just the travel costs in most cases, and in some cases as a service also for those guest speakers. And we cannot afford to pay for any coffee breaks or catering expenses. So once you will have an idea to organize a project, you can ask us anytime what is allowed and what is not allowed to compensate. Could you, Renate, put on the next slide? And for this year and 2025, we have allocated the funding for the diaspora projects 121,000 euros, and the maximum amount for one project is 6,000 euros. And so it cannot exceed 6,000 euros for one project. And so far we have supported 73 projects already this year. And 2 of them are also from Brazil. So we are very glad about that we had 2 projects. One was related to the master classes of the choir, Latvian choir visiting Brazil, who held the master classes and also concerts in Brazil. And another one was about the children's stories published in Brazil that is going on right now in these days, and it is implemented by the Ijuí Cultural Center in Ijuí. So we are very glad that also the community in Brazil is active and also applies for those projects. So the next slide, please. Then there is like consultation body, consultation institution, Diaspora Advisory Council, that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is leading this council, and there are 27 delegated representatives, and half of them are from the main diaspora organizations. Also from South America, Renate de Carvalho Albrecht is part of that council as well. And World Federation of Free Latvians, of course, and the line ministries are there as well. And this council meets 4 times a year. And you can also follow those discussions online in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Facebook account. And next meeting will be held on 12th of December. So if you have time and interest, you are also invited to follow our advisory council. So you will be able to see what we are discussing about. And the next slide. Yes, under this Diaspora Advisory Council, there are 3 working groups. One is for the coordination of remigration. This working group mainly works with different kind of issues related to Latvians returning from abroad to Latvia, looking for the job opportunities or housing or kindergarten for their children and the schools. So we are basically working with very like issues related for those families and experts who would like to return to Latvia. And we are very glad that we have quite big numbers of Latvians returning to Latvia, returning home. In 2024, there were more than 9,000 Latvians who returned to Latvia to live again in Latvia. So we are very glad about that. The next working group is Latvian language and education. It works mainly with the language issues and educational issues in the schools, and also for diaspora abroad. And the next one is diaspora community resilience, strategic communication and media. And this is quite a new working group established just in September. And the main aim is to inform diaspora about the main topics in Latvia, and also to involve diaspora in strategic communication and in informing Latvians living abroad. So this is also very important issue related to the civic communication with diaspora abroad. And the next slide, Renate. We have the line ministries and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have made a plan for the work with diaspora from 2024 until 2026. And the plan consists of several tasks and the measures and also financement that is spent for the diaspora that I already mentioned in previous slides. And we are following every line ministry that the funds are spent correctly for those summer camps or language training. So we keep in touch and coordinate the issues related to the diaspora plan. The next slide, Renate. And in this plan, there are four lines of action. The first one is preservation of Latvian language and culture outside of Latvia. The next one is promotion of diaspora civic and political participation in the public policy of Latvia. And the third one is involvement of diaspora in national economy and science. And the fourth is support for remigration. So these are the 4 line objectives of the diaspora plan. And the next slide, Renata, please. Yes, so here I will tell a little bit more about parliamentary elections that is going to be held next year on 3rd of October. It will take the Latvian citizens who have reached the age of 18 years. They can vote and can vote for the parliament and can participate in the elections. And there are 2 ways how to participate in the elections. One of them is you can vote in postal voting. So it means you will enter the website latvia.lv, and there you can choose one of the party for which you would like to vote, and then send this vote per post. And another way how to vote is to be present in the polling station, in one of the polling stations, and we are planning that also Latvians living abroad can open the polling stations. And so far we have envisaged that, but it also depends from the Latvians living abroad. It's not just us So far we have envisaged that in Brazil there might be two polling stations. But also for the voting for the parliament, please keep your ID card and your PIN and PUC codes ready, because otherwise you will not be able to enter this website latvia.lv. That's very important. And we are envisaging that approximately 45 polling stations abroad will be opened on this 3rd of October. So please participate in the elections, but of course you have to read the programs and you have to decide for who you are voting. Last time there were 19 different lists of the parties, so it's quite an challenge to read all those party programs and to decide for whom you would like to vote. But it's very important that you participate. That's very important. So Renata, the next slide, please. Yes, this is National Defense Service. It is a new initiative. It has been created in 2023, just a few years ago. And the aim is to strengthen the national defense capabilities of Latvia. And the Latvian citizens who are aged from 18 to 27 can apply voluntarily. But starting from 2027, men that are aged also 18, who are Latvian citizens and permanently residing abroad, that means that you have address not in Latvia but somewhere abroad registered, will also be selected mandatory for this service. The selection will be about 10 to 15%. We don't know yet very precisely. It depends, of course, how many Latvian citizens will apply for the service voluntarily. And the service lasts for 11 months in the National Armed Forces in Latvia. And one could be could have the service in a joint headquarters battalion, or in Air Force in Lielvārde, or in military base Ādaži, or in military base Vidzeme. So it really depends. This division of the forces, it is made by the National Armed Forces. They are doing that. And we have also visited one of those military bases just a few weeks ago with the Association of Free Latvians, and Renata was also there with us together. So, and we met some of them, those young officers, and they are very excited about the service, and they are very satisfied with the living there. And they have weekends free, Saturday and Sunday is free, so they can also visit their relatives and or see Latvia. So it's also possible to travel a little bit if you are there in Latvia on that time. Renata, the next slide, please. Yes, here I have put some benefits, and on the slide, the service will be in Latvian language, because there are many Latvians living abroad asking us in what language will be the service, but this will be in state language, in Latvian. And no, the Latvian armed forces, they are planning, probably there might be some Latvian crash courses in the beginning of the service. but if there are any questions that the young officers will not understand, instructors, they also speak English, because we are NATO member country, and that's why also the officers, they have to learn also English, and it's also possible to ask something in English. And of course, the service also, during the service, you will make new contacts that will be probably useful later in the civilian life. And I know that there has been one Latvian from Brazil who had this 3 weeks learning in National Defense Service. So there are already one example of a Brazilian coming for the service to Latvia. So, and the last slide, Renata, from me. So if you have any questions, you can always send us an email, and please do not hesitate and ask anything to us. It's very important that we have this conversation and connections also to you in South America. And thank you very much for your attention. And I'm very glad that I could share some of the basic things that we are doing here in Riga and Latvia. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. It was very interesting. Of course, it's a lot of the information. And I believe for many of our viewers, it was the first time hearing that kind of information. So please, I want to remind you that you can ask the questions. We will ask the questions in the end. So for now, thank you, Maya. I will be joined by Artur Sviridos, acting head of division of the Americas and Caribbean. Let me see where you are. Hello, Artur. Very welcome.
Hello, good evening or good day. Who has good evenings and good days at the moment? Thank you so much for this initiative. As you said, thanks to Ambassador Vanaga, but also thank you, Renata and Felipe, for making this happen virtually. Hope one day we'll be able to have this meeting conversation also somewhere in Latin America or in Riga. But let's see how it develops. And thank you, Maya, for a very comprehensive and for me also very interesting information. And as Maya said in the end, it is very, very important that we keep the connections alive between Riga and Latvians living abroad, and also, of course, in Latin America. And my division in the ministry is responsible for maintaining and developing bilateral relations with Latin American countries. And also as a EU country, we are very closely working in the EU institutions to bring about the development and strengthening relations and cooperation between the European Union and the Latin American region. On the bilateral side, my division is trying, and the ministry in overall is trying to bring these countries closer together. The main thing is to bring awareness. On mutual awareness about what is happening, what are our interests, and this is what we are also doing with Latin American countries. In Riga, we have approximately 40 embassies, but unfortunately, we don't have any embassy from the Latin American country. So all the embassies, Latin American countries, are covering Latvia from other countries in the Baltic Sea region, mainly Sweden, Stockholm, Poland, Warsaw, and also some embassies in Norway, Oslo, and And unfortunately, still, but hopefully one day, we will have an embassy in Latin American, in one of countries in Latin America. Unfortunately, we don't have one at the moment. So the closest that you can get right now, for the time being, is going to Washington D.C. in the United States, and Ottawa in Canada. But I really don't know. Maybe the flight, at least for Brazilians, the flight from Brazil to Germany, Berlin, is closer than and faster than getting to Washington D.C. Because we have a non-resident ambassador, Alda Vanaga, in Berlin, covering also Brazil from this part of the world. Once she was also an ambassador in Portugal, and then she was also covering Brazil from there. So she has been a very profound, how to say, patriot of Latvia's and Brazil's bilateral relations, and all these years she has been our non-resident ambassador. So that's and as we don't have any embassy at the time being in Latin American countries, we are very grateful to all honorary consuls who take up responsibilities of helping us to make people-to-people contacts, and also trying to bring companies together. And not very rarely, also honorary consuls are Latvians in their roots. So they have been and they are still a very great asset for Latvia at the moment, when we don't have this permanent boots on the ground, let's say, representation in Latin America, and they are helping us with everything. And of course, they can always help Latvian nationals in the region. As honorary consuls, they have some limited, but still consular. They can provide consular services in times of need, with getting back to Latvia, or with some documentation. On the agenda right now, for us, Latin America is the whole region is important to us. We're paying close attention, and as we were striving to get elected in the United Nations Security Council, I think this period of the last decade was very beneficial to us, reaching out to Latin American countries. And learning a lot about these countries and what is happening, what are your challenges, what are your interests, and in this way we can understand how and where should we cooperate for the benefit of our both regions, let's say. This is why we have between the ministries of Foreign Affairs of Latvia and any Latin American country, we periodically have political consultations when we get together in Latin American region, or other countries' representatives come to Latvia, and then we go through the whole agenda of our needs, of our interests, and trying to indicate the spheres, the fields where we can cooperate. And one of these spheres is, of course, economic relations and trade. This is what we are concentrated also through the EU. And I'm very happy that our president is going to Brazil quite soon, in the beginning of November. He will participate in COP30, conference. But besides that, he will be traveling a little bit around Brazil, meeting also Latvians living there. And he's coming with bunch, I don't know the exact number right now, but bunch of Latvian companies who are very interested to learn what Latin American countries can offer. And of course, this is a great opportunity for them to show what can Latvia offer. And we have a lot to offer. And we have no doubt that Latin American countries can also offer a lot. And just after COP30 conference, there's going to be the European Union and Latin American regions community. I don't know the exact spelling, the meaning of this abbreviation, but it's CELAC. So EU CELAC summit will take place in Colombia, and we will of course also be participating there as the whole European Union countries leaders come together to Colombia to meet their counterparts in Latin American countries. And one of the main fields where our interests lie between the EU and Latin America is trade, and we are working very hard. Also, Latvia, as this is one of our interests to bring about closer trade and economic relations with Latin American countries. And this is why we're working on several trade agreements with Mexico, with Mercosur, and also Chile, because this is very crucial, how to connect those two regions and making trade and economic relations, and then in consequence also more active bilateral, also more active tourism on to and from both sides. And yes, I think I took quite a lot of time. I don't want to take all the time. So back to you, Renata. And if you have any questions, I will be very glad to answer them.
Thank you, Arthur. It was very interesting. And yeah, I can see that we actually, I will put Maya also back. Let's see if we can fit in one screen, and we can. So yeah, we can see that the people are watching, and thank you. We have reached now like 55 viewers, but a lot of from Brazil, São Paulo, Brasília, Campinas, Surubici. Hello, everyone. We have viewers also from Riga, and we have from Argentina, Curitiba, Paraná, also Brazil, Ijuí and Criciúma. We have from Chile and Buenos Aires, Argentina. So thank you, everyone. I hope it was very interesting and educational for all of you. I will put like here one comment that Andres is telling that it was him who was doing the national service Maya was talking about. So the one Brazilian who already did national service in Latvia also is watching. So thank you. Mm-hmm. And also Leonardo Moraes is asking, are there Latvian language programs available for those who are not part of the diaspora? So actually it's quite I wouldn't say problem, but interest from non-Latvians to learn Latvian language. We have various people who are just interested, but also people who are married to Latvian and would like to learn. I know there are a lot of materials also that, of course, Latvian Language Agency makes materials when they are accessible for everyone, not only for diaspora, but maybe you might have some information for some more programs, maybe some universities who can give some
Yes, I
personal.
was just having a quick watch in the internet, and I have found that there is eLipa that
Mhm.
provides learning tools in internet for the foreigners who want to learn Latvian, but they are very basic. It's like A1 level, and there are like subjects, how to introduce yourself, about the world, about the cities, and my home and family, and very, very basic things. But then there also are, of course, the private companies that also offer Latvian language courses online, and not just for those living in Latvia, but also for those living abroad, and you can find such courses in internet. And here I have also found that in Riga, but this is once you have start to live in Latvia, there are those integration courses that are funded by the Society Integration Fund. But this is once you have already returned to Riga, or traveled to Riga and stayed for the longer time. And but you have to look for eLipa or the private companies where you can find some learning skills remotely. Thanks for interest.
Yeah, I could add that you could also check some universities. I know that some, like Latvian university, they have some summer Latvian culture weeks that is also available for not Latvians. For diaspora, it has some. Um, I think fee different as you pay, but you can participate also as non-Latvian. And also Leonardo is asking, and maybe for Arthur's, what is the role of the honor consul, and what is the application procedure?
Uh,
Honorary
yeah,
consul.
honorary consul. Thank you for the question and the interest. The role of the honorary consul is, the main role would be peoples to people contacts. That means also companies to companies, or also helping us to learn more about the country. Usually, we receive also periodic reports from honorary consuls, and this helps us to understand what is the political situation, what is the economic situation in the country, what's happening socially, also with the Latvian nationals in these countries. So I could talk a lot, but the role is very important, and as I mentioned before, as for the time being, we do not have any embassy in the region. These people are basically our ambassadors, and how and the application procedure. Basically, if you have this interest and you are willing to step up, if you have the contacts in any of the spheres which can help Latvia to find ways how to deepen cooperation. Usually, the honorary consuls are CEOs of any companies or lawyers, or from spheres which can help in this work. Then you can contact the Ministry of Foreign Affairs by sending us an email or official letter with all your credentials. Of course, educational documents like diplomas and etc., your CV, and then of course we are reviewing your application. The whole procedure can take some time, as this is a very responsible role. It can take a time, maybe some months. But yeah, but I would be happy to give all the information later on somewhere, because the procedure is quite. To explain the whole procedure, it takes some time, and I won't be able to do it right now. But yeah, thank you for the interest.
Thank you. Here, Ilse also saying paldies no Santiago, no Chiles. And it's also, we have one question from Argentina. Sophia is asking that she wants to know if there are agreements between Latin American and Latvian universities. I don't know if you know some.
Yes, well, this is a very good question. Agreements, well, to be honest, right now, I do not have the answer. But I think clearly our universities are cooperating. I know that some years ago, our universities went to quite a number of Latin American countries, traveling around and trying to expand their cooperation with universities there. But agreements, then I would ask the person who raised this question, agreements for doing what, like for a student exchange, or?
Yeah, probably cooperation and student and professor.
Maybe I can add. I can add. I have just looked in the internet that University of Latvia, that is one of the biggest universities in Latvia, has some bilateral agreements with universities in South America. And for example, with Argentina, University of Latvia has agreement with Universidad Austral and Instituto Universitario Italiano de Rosario. I don't know, this is something with Italy, but in Argentina. And there are also in Brazil with 3 universities, University of Latvia, Centro Universitario La Salle, and also Centro Universitario Internacional, and Rio Grande do Sul. They also have agreements. So this is in the website with the University of Latvia. But my colleague is just telling me that also IJUI has a bilateral agreement with Liepājas University.
Yes, Liepāja.
With Liepāja. So
they
one
really
of the
work together. They have exchange happening.
Yeah. And also
so quite
that
a
is
number.
very important. The study in Latvia program, they are inviting students from all of the world, and the Latvian citizens can freely apply for the English studying programs. So if you don't speak Latvian, you can apply for one of the 200 programs in Latvia. In Riga Technical University, in University of Latvia, Riga Economics Schools or Riga Graduate School of Law, it's possible. So also for Latvians living abroad, and you are very welcome to come to Latvia for studies here. So thanks for the question.
If I can add, I think that till the November, you can even apply for study start in the winter in February. So now is actually open to, you can check Latvian universities and the courses there. As Maya said, a lot of courses in English, so it's quite a possibility as well. And we know that actually these kind of agreements have a lot of universities, more universities that actually do this exchange based on the agreement. So if you actually thinking about one university, you could ask directly, and maybe they already have agreement, and you could find a person who is interested to make it active again. So I find it quite challenging. The most challenging part that we see in Brazil is not to make this kind of agreement between the universities, but to have the interested parts in both universities to actually to do this kind of student or professor exchanges. So we are so encouraging all volunteers and interested who are interested in that, go to universities and talk about that. So we have also from Venezuela asking or giving idea of maybe some kind of project that can help elderly people from Latvia there. So probably it's related to all economical and political situation in Venezuela. We know that in the latest years, a lot of people also left, and probably the elderly still staying in Venezuela. Maybe this is the case Daniel is talking about. I don't know if you have some comment in that. I don't know if Latvian government has that kind of programs.
To my knowledge, I don't think that we have. Yes.
Yes, I also don't think that we have such a specific project for elderly people. You mean for diaspora living abroad? No, it's usually like connected mainly with the events and like cultural and language learning and some other like national days as well. Yeah, but not specifically for pensioners. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say that if Venezuelan Latvian community thinks about some project, it can lift the spirits of elderly people, like it could be culturally related. You saw there are a lot of possibilities also in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs ask support for this kind of project. So it can be something, but maybe through some project that is culturally related. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, basically, but and also probably political in the civic life, for example, if they are interested, they are still have interest in Latvian policy, and they would like to, I don't know, vote for the parliament. It's also would be one connection as well. So yeah, it's possible, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Shayla Puin is asking if there are possibility of a technical visit in health area to university for teaching hospital. Okay, maybe she also is thinking, I think, more the educational way, maybe the professional exchange, something like that.
Yeah, it's also a very specific question, but the studies as such of medicine, it's also possible to study medicine in Latvia for the students abroad, but to specifically visit a teaching hospital, it should be like clarified probably with a Riga Stradiņš University or University of Latvia, where are mainly the medicine students, and there are quite many actually from coming abroad. Around 12% of all students who study medicine in Latvia come from foreign countries.
Yeah, I would say also reach out the universities or hospital or something, because sometimes the problem is the communication. Just needs to ask, and sometimes it's like it works out very well.
And then usually, and usually universities have their international cooperation departments, which are dealing with such cases when somebody's coming to them, inquiring about their interest for visit or studies and etc. So universities in Latvia have the specific departments who can help. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Eric Skrabe is asking, Labdien, could you tell us something about business opportunities? Looks like Latvia is doing pretty well with drones.
Uh, well, yes, thank you for noticing. We are trying our best with drones. This is mainly done by companies in cooperation with the Ministry of Defense of Latvia. Something about business opportunities. As a small country, we are known for our services, digital services. Now very known as Eric already mentioned about the drones because of recent and still ongoing war in Ukraine. This in one way facilitated our drone innovation and production, and also working with other countries, companies and investors. We have many investors, mainly from the United States, who are interested in drone production. If we talk about IT services, we are pretty strong in them, and we have big investors in Latvia. For example, Accenture, which is also mainly United States based, huge IT company. It has a network in the whole world. We are if you have specific area where would you like to work with Latvia to invest or find some companies to cooperate with, then if you could specify, because Latvia has a lot of opportunities to offer. And of course, there's always a way to put together contacts between two companies, and also our honorary consuls could do that. If you are, sorry, I don't see where Eric is from. But yes, in such case, if there is an interest, you can also contact our. Sorry,
I think Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah.
So you can find in our website the list of honorary consuls and their contact information in Brazil, and also our consuls can help bring together your business idea with Latvian opportunities, because they have direct contacts with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Well, my division. And I'm also sure they have also good contacts with other Latvian companies or universities or whomever in Latvia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I would also
I
like to add, Rena. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you can.
Yes, I would also like to add that probably you should also, Erica could contact directly Latvian Investment and Development Agency, because this is one of the agencies that supports investments and that supports young entrepreneurs and in different young business fields as artificial intelligence, as digitalization, and they have also specific support programs and projects. And probably later on, Renat, you could send also the website of the Latvian Investment and Development Agency. They are also very active. They have their own attaches around the world. But I don't think they have one in South America. But anyway, you can ask them directly, because we are very interested in to have those young entrepreneurs also in Latvia.
Yeah, I would. I will continue and just add, if you, Eric, really is from Brazil, you are welcome to meet President of Latvia when he comes, because Leah will be present also in that meeting. And so if you have specific also questions, I think it would be very interesting conversation. It's 8th of November here in Nova Odessa, Brazil. We don't have exact time, but probably it will be like 2 p.m. in afternoon. So everyone welcome, and you as well, and talk directly with Leah. And I know they have also some incubators, like business incubators, and some programs that are supporting exactly diaspora Latvians for them invest and open their businesses in Latvia. So it's interesting topic. You could really check about it with them. One more, I don't know, question from URBC. Ethel Liepkaun is asking, like, we created Latvian language group this year. How can we strengthen cultural exchange through language and culture and study together? So not be one separated group, but how we can, maybe do something together.
That's great news that you have such a language group. Where is Urubici? Where is that?
Urubici in Brazil,
In Brazil,
in Santa Catarina state.
Yeah, I think you should get in touch with the Latvian language agency about how to strengthen the cultural exchange with and also the Latvian language exchange with Latvian institutions. And this is the Latvian agency for the Latvian language. Valoda.lv is the website for this agency, and also they have some support programs for such language courses. But maybe you were looking for some other groups in other countries. That's also possible, of course, to get in touch.
Yeah, for sure. There are a lot of WhatsApp groups. Also, I know that a lot of Brazilians join the Canadian Latvian WhatsApp group to learn Latvian. So now it's very global. You don't have to stuck in Brazil or South America. You can go wide. So I think just I would suggest look the home pages of other Latvian association, like American Latvian Association has a lot of materials there, Canadian Latvian Association, a lot of there, Australian as well. And as I said, they have those WhatsApp groups that everyone is able to join. And Canadians have very interesting Latvian language program. They started recently, so they have the calendar and the task or thing you can learn or watch or listen in Latvian every day. So you can follow the calendar with all material ready. And I think it's very nice and easy for someone who starts from the beginning, maybe without the real teacher. So it is like good support. And here, Andrea, we touched this topic, but maybe a bit more deeper. I would like to know if there are any program to support people interested to return to Latvia.
Yes, there are all those remigration programs that are supported from the Ministry of Smart Administration and Regional Development. So it's basically connected with the local governments of Latvia. There are several local governments that are also giving specific allowances, but not. There are very few of those local governments. For example, Riga can support families who are returning from abroad and pay some 3 months allowance. But the Ministry of Smart Administration, they are also organizing the competition for the new businesses in Latvia. So when the family comes and makes a new business in Latvia, they can also have some allowances, some funds from this Ministry of Smart Administration based on the competition. And in year 2024, there were such 14 such families who have made business and opened a company in Latvia. So there is support, and also there is support not just in money but also in consultations. So there are 5 different regions in Latvia and 5 regional coordinators for immigration that you can ask any question to them, and they will get an answer. For example, where to find a house, or where my child could get a kindergarten, or a place in the school. They are making such a personal plans for everyone who approaches them. And there will be a new website called remigracija.lv, and we are planning to put all the information that deals with practical issues of immigration in this website. So it should be ready until the end of this year.
I put in the chat also a link to the
Paps.lv.
Yeah,
Yes.
with contact information of those re-immigration coordinators. I know that some Latvians, that Brazilian Latvians who moved to Latvia, they really used the service and they helped a lot. So if you have interest, just write there, and yeah. Okay, we have here information. Does government of Latvia have any plans of reopen an embassy or consulate in Brazil? If not, what are main factors preventing this initiative at the moment? Initiative, yes.
Well, as I mentioned, thank you for the question. As I mentioned, this plan has been there for several years, even more than a decade. Of course, this is still one of our priorities, and of course, it is still in our plans. Well, the main reasons is that we have the ground to have an embassy in Brazil, but especially in this time when a war is raging very close to Latvia, and the whole all Europe's countries are investing more of their finances. And also we are trying to help Ukraine as much as we can, and we are trying to boost our defense. Then one of the main factors is, of course, financial feasibility to open an embassy. But of course, as I said, the ground is there. We have a lovely and a huge diaspora living in Brazil. We have the contacts of between universities and also companies, so we have the ground. So, but at the moment, unfortunately, yes, we are hitting ourselves against the wall, which is called financial feasibility. But hopefully, one day.
And expanding the question, Andrea is asking about if there are any plans to reopen the honorary consulate in Curitiba. But I think this is like the have to be the consul initiative, right? Will there be some consul who are willing to do this?
Yes, if there is someone who is ready to take up this very important and role, then yes, come with your initiative. Write us an email or a letter with all your credentials, and of course we will take a look and review your application.
Yeah. So Daniels is just adding. He was from Venezuela, asking. So he said that maybe it could be a project, and he's a doctor, and maybe can help with the support and something. So thank you, Daniels. Let's keep in touch, and hopefully it will work out. And so many people are saying thank you. You can also find all the web pages we are mentioning in our conversation. You can find in the chat. I tried to put it. We are already more than 1 hour talking, so thank you very much for your time, Sunday, and for this conversation. It was very special. I believe that all South American Latvian community, and not only Latvian community, our friends and all people interested in what happens in Latvia, are very happy. So very, very thank you for your time, Maya and Arturs. And I hope it's not our last, maybe this type of conversation. We could do some other subjects as well, and a deep dive in some specific issues.
Yes,
thank you so much,
very
Renata.
much. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. This was very important to understand what questions may arise from our Latvian compatriots in Latin America, and this is very useful to understand what are your questions, how can we help, and how can we and which information we can give to you, so you would know exactly what should you do and make a decision. May it be come living in Latvia, or working in Latvia, or coming for universities and etc. So thank you so much, Renat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you also so much from my side. It was very interesting to hear the questions and also the reactions to our presentations, both of us. And it was I'm very glad, as I said already in the beginning, that there are so many Latvians that are still interested in to hear about Latvia and to have this connection and come and visit us, and just for the holidays or maybe for studies.
Paldies, thank you. I want to remind also all the viewers that you can search all our contacts also through the web, Facebook or Instagram, as well as Letonia Brazil, that is Latvian Brazilian Culture Association webpage. Feel free to write the questions, and we will try to help our volunteers. And also, you already saw also in presentation Facebook account also for Diaspora, right? Diaspora LV. That also you can follow what happens and what the foreign ministry does. So, Liels paldies, thank you. Until the next time.
Mm-hmm.
Liels paldies, līdz nākamajai reizei.
Atā.
Atā.
Atā.